Winning in the Big Ten requires physicality, depth, and Big Ten size at the point of attack. That's something Washington lacked on both sides of the ball last season. That's changed at offensive line, and it's a similar story with the defensive line. A handful of transfer portal additions this offseason, some returning starters, an all-around increase in rotational depth for this unit up front. And defensive coordinator Ryan Walters believes this team has the size to compete in the Big Ten up front.
I think Coach Fish has done a great job just with the staff in its entirety, especially in the recruiting and the evaluation department. We look like a Big Ten team. The guys that we've added, they fit in this conference.
And this is a defensive line room with around 20 guys, each with varying responsibilities because of the different alignments up front that Ryan Walters uses with the defensive line. There are two main presentations utilized within this defense. That's a 4-down front and a 5-down front. In this video, I'm focusing only on the interior defensive line, starting out with the 4-down look. And for the majority of the team portions of spring practice, when Washington utilized a 4-down front, these were the players rotating with what I would consider the first and second team. Elinneus Davis at 6'2", 315, and Western Michigan transfer Anterio Thompson at 6'4", 306 earned a lot of starting snaps this spring. Also rotating with the first and second team this spring, Bryce Butler and Omar Khan. Noticeably absent from this group, Javon Parker, who's still recovering from that Achilles injury. He was out all spring, and his brother Armon Parker was only available in limited capacity at the very end of this spring. But the signature look with Ryan Walters' defense is the 5-down defensive front that they utilize most of the time. Defensive line coach Jason Kaufusi talked about that difference.
Football, right, it's more so speaking from a defensive perspective, right, you want to stop the run. So how are you going to stop the run, right? Whether you play a 5-down spacing look, if it's 4-down spacing, like what do you want the presentation to look like for the offense, and then go from there.
So you start to look at this 5-down defensive front. The big difference is a zero technique, a nose tackle. That's where you really start to see some more of this size increase up front. Logan Sagapolu at 6'2", 345 pounds, and Utah transfer Simote Pepa, number 77, at 6'3", 350 up front. Those two guys primarily rotated with the first and second team, but Elinneus Davis, number 90, also got some reps at the zero technique when they went a little lighter up front. And he talked about what it's like going up against a Big Ten offensive line.
Obviously they're big, they're huge guys for sure. But yeah, a lot more run game. I feel like your technique really has to be in point to really play with the big guys. So.
And when Washington wants to go heavy set front and get big on the inside, they can. This is an alignment that I saw this spring. That's Butler, Sagapolu, and Pepa on the interior. That's a total of 1,010 pounds between the three of them. But they can also do the opposite. This is another rotation that I saw this spring that introduces more speed and versatility to the inside of the defensive line. With Elinneus Davis in the middle and Anterio Thompson and Tai Uiagalelei at tackle, this can be an extremely quick defensive front off the snap. And these options just further speak to the versatility and depth at the defensive front for Washington going into 2025, the ability to cover a lot of different situations. And again, these rotations are not indicative of any depth chart or starting group of defensive linemen. This is just what I have from my notes that I saw on the field this spring. So let's dive into this interior defensive line at Washington. Simote Pepa, the Utah transfer, and Logan Sagapolu, who was playing offensive line at this time a year ago. Beginning with Simote Pepa, who's played a lot of football, 4 seasons at Utah. That includes 4 games during his true freshman season, 37 games played, 45 tackles, 9 tackles for loss, and 4 sacks. He was a little limited at times this spring, but Jason Kaufusi is confident that his skill set is going to transfer to what they want him to do at Washington.
He's limited, but he's been working on the sidelines, whether it's a mental rep or trying to get his body right. But eventually, I know what he's played a lot of football. He's played a lot of football at a really good team, So I'm not too worried about that. It's just the same thing like for Anterio or any of those new guys. Just let's get them used to our verbiage, be on the same page, our language, and go from there.
Logan Sagapolu had a lot of first-team reps this spring at that nose tackle position, and he slimmed down from last year where he was in the mid-360s, and he talked about that transition.
Yeah, sure. It was just like mobility-wise and just like being able to move better. I was playing the season last year like in the 360s, like mid-360s. At one point I was a 366, but now I slimmed down to now I'm a 344. Things like that, and so it was really just mobility-wise, and like for Kaufusi to, use me a lot more. Like he even told me too, it's like I want to use you, but your mobility is not there where we want it. So slim down, and that's what I did.
That transition has allowed him to play quicker as a run stopper, and Coach Kaufusi believes it'll also improve his pass rushing abilities.
I would say if there's something he needs to work on, is his pass rush. But you talk about a really good nose guard, stopping the run. I think he has all the tools and all the fundamentals in order for him to be a really, really good nose guard.
And moving out to defensive tackle, it's hard to miss Anterio Thompson at 6'4", 300 plus, an extremely athletic, quick player at the defensive line. Thompson played at Iowa in 2023, primarily on special teams. He blocked 2 punts that season, one against Northwestern, one against Western Michigan, which is where he transferred for the 2024 season. In Kalamazoo, he became a force on the defensive line, starting all 12 games for the Broncos. He had 17 quarterback pressures on 410 snaps played in 2024. And this offseason at Washington, Thompson has talked about how his prior stops at Iowa and Western Michigan have helped him become a leader in the locker room. And the Husky coaching staff is certainly excited about the physical presence and athleticism and speed that they'll have up front with Thompson.
What you see on film, so obviously played at Western Michigan. So if you take a look at that film, everything that you see there, he's big, he's strong, he's athletic. Same thing here. Now just trying to get him used to our terminology and the basic fundamentals of what we do.
Yeah, he's definitely a mature young man and recognizes the opportunity that he has, and he's acting accordingly, so that's been good for us. The explosion and the power and the agility that you see running around cones and lifting weights in the weight room, it's translated to the field, so that's always a plus.
And as you look at the rest of these defensive tackles at Washington who are available this spring, Elinneus Davis returns the most production from that group, 169 snaps last season, played in 12 of 13 games. And Bryce Butler, who played just 3 games last season, 49 snaps, allowing him to count it as a redshirt season after transferring from Garden City Community College before the 2024 season. And there is a difference with this defensive line compared to last year. Obviously, the depth, the physical size on the field is going to be different. But behind the scenes, Logan Sagapolu talks about what makes this defensive line group different.
For this year, last year's guys we were really good, but this year's guys, I feel like we're even better. I say we're a lot more connected, and just we have the ability, to really work together and just compete with each other and things like that. We're just with a really good group of guys. It's just getting to know each other, man. We're with each other every day, And so just how the bonding in the locker room and even team activities and things like that. And everyone is just, no one came in with an ego. No one came in I'm all this, I'm all that. Everybody came in was just hey, yo, what's up? My name is so-and-so, nice to meet you. And, we all kicked it off really well. And, we're a family right now.
On top of the bond between the players, it's important to note the impact that Jason Kaufusi has on this defensive line. Ryan Walters talked about what he thinks of his defensive line coach after the spring game.
And, those guys have been really productive. Like I said, Coach Kaufusi is, probably the best D-line guy I've been around. And just the way he teaches, the progression he goes through. It's been fun as a walk-around coordinator. I sort of pick a position group to be in every day for meetings. So to see him and the way he teaches, and then it translates over into Indy, and then you get in 11-on-11 situations, and the things that he's teaching is showing up. That's a mark of a good coach, and it's a mark of coachable players as well. So got high expectations for that room and that group, and I know they're pushing each other as well.
From everything I saw this spring and the comments from the players and coaches, I do think there will be a tangible difference in the production along the defensive line for Washington this fall.